on the tough issues and provide a biblical perspective to them. The topics we cover are wide-ranging: apologetics, theology, prophecy, creation and evolution, intelligent design, marriage, family, child-rearing, the millennial generation, trends in society, politics, economics, business, religious liberty, the Constitution, public policy, foreign policy, military policy, tensions in the Middle East, abortion, homosexuality, pornography, sexual ethics, media, technology, history, and America's godly heritage. We talk about anything that affects your faith, your family, or your freedom. So don't go anywhere, because Point of View starts right now.
Across America, live, this is Point of View. And now, Kerby Anderson.
Thank you for joining me today here on Point of View. For those of you that have been listening to us on the local Dallas station, you've been hearing us at 9 a.m., and here we are now at noon, and this will be our new opportunity to talk with you from 12 to 2. The Point of View show also goes from 1 to 3, so even if you can't hear the third hour, you can certainly join us online. So we certainly are excited about our new slot here at noon on 1160, and we are going to be in this first hour spending some time talking about an event that I really hope that many of you can attend. It takes place March 22nd at DBU University. We're going to talk more about that in just a minute. It's called the Lion's Den, and we're going to spend some time talking about some of the participants and some of the people that have served as co-chair. First, let me go to Vip Vipperman. He is an individual that's worked in real estate, and is the first person that actually contacted me about this, invited me also to host one of the events that will be taking place at the Lion's Den. So, Vip, tell us a little bit more about this idea of Lion's Den. What's that all about?
Yeah, thanks, Kerby. Excited to be here today and to get a chance to share a little bit more with you guys. This year is the third annual Lion's Den event. We're very excited. It is a pitch competition where businesses come from all over the world, literally to Dallas Baptist University here in the Metroplex, and they're going to pitch their business. These are not just whiteboard ideas. These are for-profit businesses, things that are already making money and moving forward. They're just looking for a little bit of extra investment to get them to scale and to grow. So we're excited to have companies coming in from China, Africa, and across the nation this year.
And again, one of the things I might just mention is we have a link to the lionsdendfw.com. You don't have to remember all that because we have a link there. And it has a press release about this as well. And we'll talk some more about some of those issues. But let me also bring into the microphone and the discussion here Ed Pierce, who has been involved in all sorts of entrepreneurial activities over the years. His full bio is here. As a matter of fact, the bio for every one of our 4 participants is on the website. So I won't take a lot of time there. But I know that you were one of the individuals to help start Lion's Den DFW, and you've been a co-chair for all these years.
Yeah, Kerby, we sure have. Vip and I together started Lion's Den, and just as you said, we were looking around the area, and basically people were coming to us. I teach a small group in our local church, and I see young people really wanting to be involved, and not just to check a clock or to punch a clock and do something else, but they want to really have their work matter, really want to have a kingdom purpose. And so Vip and I started talking about this. We'd worked in other ministries together. He said, you ought to check out this thing called Lion's Den. So we really, the DFW part is important because there's one in a sister event in Birmingham, Alabama that we work closely with. But we started Lion's Den together 3 years ago with just an idea and a wing and a prayer. We said, can we do this in Dallas where we really have this sort of Shark Tank environment, if you will, just to give them credit. But we really do it a little bit differently. But we have a kingdom purpose, for-profit companies. If you've got an idea that you always wanted to do something with, then this is the conference for you. It's easy to come to. It's a beautiful venue at DBU. It's really interesting. The networking is great. And by the way, I'll say a few times, registration is free. You can pay for a sandwich or lunch, but you can come for free and see what Lion's Den is all about. And so that's attracted all of us. Like Brenda Teal is here with us, too, as our host of the day, and she's fantastic. We've got a tremendous core team and tremendous companies we'll talk about here in a minute.
Well, let's introduce Brenda Teal. She is the other person around the table. We're going to add another one a little bit later in the broadcast, but a local television personality. I would imagine you probably know who she is, and it is just delightful to have you in studio with us today.
It's nice to finally meet you, too, and these guys are just great. They came to me maybe a couple of years ago over lunch, and you always worry when you get two handsome guys coming to you and saying, okay, here, come on. Yeah. We've got something that we want you to work on with us. And I love the idea from day one. And everyone who I talked to about it has never heard about anything like this. And how many businesses out there, Kerby, who just need a little bit of a push? And even more than that, if you're not pitching, just to be in the audience to find out how to do it for yourself. We all have these wonderful dreams, and this is America. And what Lions Den is doing is really helping marry dreams with opportunities. It's great.
Well, again, I might just mention you're a member at Oak Cliff Bible Fellowship, and I've had a chance to speak in that church. And, of course, Tony Evans and I have shared offices at Dallas Seminary, and we've known each other's kids and everything. So that's just another connection point that I think is really a lot of fun. But let's, if we can, also spend some time talking about, if we could, Vip, what this entails. I think some people say, okay, I get a little bit. Shark Tank sort of helps me get a little bit of a handle for what this looks like, but give us a few more details.
Yeah, about 6 months ago, we started recruiting companies from across the country to come in who are interested in pitching at the event. And then we made the decisions. They go through a process of choosing the different companies. And now 3 weeks away, on March 22nd, they're going to pitch at Dallas Baptist. But is it just a pitch competition? No. We actually have a keynote lunch that's during the event day on March 22nd, as well as breakout sessions as well. So people who want to come, they want to learn about things like investing, things about women in entrepreneurship, millennials in entrepreneurship and opportunities there, as well as what does the Bible have to say about investing in business and those sort of things. And finally, entrepreneurship and some of the ways that entrepreneurs can fail and succeed. So all those opportunities come in that one-day event.
I might just mention, too, that on our website we have the press release, but if you click through, it also tells you a lot about the events. There's also some videos from some of the past events, so that gives you an idea of the different sessions, the breakout sessions, some of the various pitches, those kinds of things, who's doing all of that. And one of the things I would suggest is, since there is some information there, even if you're saying, well, this is interesting, but it's kind of not something I'm going to do, but you know what? I know somebody who would really benefit from this. We've got some share buttons that you can click to send it to someone else. And I would encourage people that, even if they're not interested, to tell someone else about this, because this is such a great opportunity, isn't it?
Absolutely. It's been amazing how it's grown organically. I think we've got relationships and people coming already this year from 15 or more states, just because people get the idea, they love what's going on, and there's not much like this going on around the world that really has that kingdom focus combined with the social impact, the environmental positive impact, and the for-profit nature.
You know, I think that a lot of people with businesses think, well, this isn't for me. My business isn't big enough. And I challenge that. I say, come out and hear. We've got everything from coconuts to movies. Coffee is in there. I have a girlfriend who has a pie company, and I just encouraged her to please come because she was wondering how to grow her business. Even if you're not pitching, you're meeting people who have been where you are, no matter how small.
Yeah, it's really a great opportunity for anyone who's interested in this type of arena to come and see for themselves what it takes to really raise money, what it takes to grow a business. And frankly, I start the discussion every year in the intro remarks to say, you know, you're here for a reason. You have an interest in having your work really have a purpose, and so you can do it. Every big company started as a small company. So don't think that you cannot do this. So you can do what you want to do, have that dream, have that mission, and they can intersect with the kingdom purpose, and we're going to show you how to do that. Just know you can do it.
We're going to take a break. When we come back, though, I want to talk to Ed a little bit more about that, because some people see entrepreneur and business and kingdom focus as contradictory, and I know that you don't believe that those are contradictory, but I want to talk about that as well. And let me just mention again that we have a very important link for you to follow, thelionsdendfw.com. But again, you don't have to remember that. Just click on that button there, and it will tell you more about the conference. We need to take a break. We'll continue our conversation right after this.
This is Viewpoints with Kerby Anderson.
Will divisive debates about public policy break America apart? David French fears that could happen with the current debate and dissension over gun control. He wrote about it after the CNN town hall on gun control, but it could just as easily be written about the controversy and conflict that has surfaced this last week. It might be easy to write off some of the hysterics and hyperbole as an outlier. Surely the American people will regain their senses and realize that even if we have fundamental disagreements about guns and gun legislation, that should never be allowed to pull us apart. That may not be the case. David French says that millions of Americans who watched all or part of the town hall came away with a clear message. These people aren't just angry at what happened in their town to their friends and family members. They hate me. These emotions aren't fake or manufactured. They come from fierce convictions and sincere belief. We have seen similar hysterics over such policy issues as regulatory reform and net neutrality. One of the guests on my radio program explained the progression from conflict over net neutrality to the anger over the gun debate. He reminded us that those who supported the FCC decision about net neutrality were called Hitler. Once you label your opposition as Hitler merely because they want to remove some regulations added 2 years ago, there is nowhere to go but down. Nobody's life is at stake by changing some rules affecting the Internet. However, the gun debate does affect lives, so anyone who opposes you is worse than Hitler. You are evil and support a gun organization that is a terrorist organization. Meanwhile, advocates for gun rights believe that you are trying to take away their ability to defend themselves. Perhaps you can see why such a divisive debate could fracture America. Both sides believe lives are at stake and aren't likely to compromise. I'm Kerby Anderson, and that's my point of view.
From Irwin Brothers Entertainment, I Can Only Imagine. Rated PG, in theaters March 16th. More information at ICanOnlyImagine.com.
You're listening to Point of View, your listener-supported source for truth.
Okay, get out your calendar, mark March 22nd, Lion's Den, and I would hope that you would attend, but even if you do not, you probably know someone that would certainly benefit from this. So again, we're going to spend some time talking about this, and we're privileged to have in studio with us at the moment Vit Vipperman as well as Ed Pierce and Brenda Teal. Abby Davis will be joining us a little bit later, so we've got all sorts of people to talk about. But, Ed, let's focus on this issue of kingdom purposes.
Okay.
Some people might say, oh, I'm in business, you know. I really appreciate my Christian values, but when I go into business, really, can I have a kingdom purpose? What about this?
Well, I think the first thing we need to do, as you and others have written about, is you know, life doesn't start and end with church on Sunday.
Right.
So we really go to work on Monday, most of us. And so we have to be Christians every day of the week, to be honest with you. And we have to really be in the kingdom for a kingdom purpose every day of the week.
Yes.
If you look at work, you start all the way back in Genesis. Adam was given the task of naming the animals. He was given the task to really till the soil. And so God really plans for us to work to begin with. And all that work should be honoring to him. That hasn't changed. In all the Old Testament or New Testament, the fall or not the fall, we still do everything we do to honor God. We really do. And so we have to have that mindset. We really take the position that if you look at work really being a kingdom purpose, then we say a lot of people just believe that they don't want to just punch that clock. They really want to have their life integrated in a real way for social impact, for kingdom impact. And that's really where we pick up the Lion's Den. So as you and others have written about, this is just the way that our DNA is to do this. And we take it the step forward with for-profit companies, show you how to integrate the kingdom with what you do.
You know, in 1 Corinthians 10, verse 31, it says, whatever you do, do it all for the glory of God. Not some of it for the glory of God, not Sunday for the glory of God, but Monday through Saturday and also Sunday for the glory of God. And that's something that I think we really need to recapture here in America, don't you think?
We do. And I think, too, you know, I started the position, too, there's great works being written about this, et cetera, but, you know, good ethics and good work is good for business. And so you really have to start with the premise that I'm going to represent my faith just without any question in everything that I do. And then we take you along the path of showing you in some real concrete ways how your company, your startup, your effort can really be for the kingdom. And it's really a fantastic day and with a lot of good content.
Brenda, let me get your comments because you've had a chance to hear some of these. And if nothing else, I know that you've got some thoughts as well about how we can do it all for the glory of God.
Well, you know, I think it starts with connecting your business with your why. I love the comedian Michael Jr., and he does this skit on knowing your why. What's the bigger reason why you're doing what you're doing? And there are so many people in business who are just kind of going along. But once they connect with the why, then the color starts to fill in, and you're driven. And then, yes, I'm doing all things, you know, for the good and bringing all of my treasures into the storehouse. So I think that when we get on point with the Lion's Den, there are a lot of pitch competitions out there, but I don't know of any other that has a mission bottom line. What's your purpose in starting this business, whether it be a tire business or a coffee business or a pharmaceutical company? What's your greater kingdom purpose?
That's very good. Vip, talk about that.
Well, I was going to say one of the things that we found in a lot of the business conferences, you'll get a person talk on stage about their vision for what the Bible says about doing business, or how we can serve, how we can love, how we can be a better leader. One of the things we like to do at Lion's Den is get more into the how. So when you come to the Lion's Den, we'll have someone talk about, here are the 10 reasons you're going to fail as an entrepreneur.
Wow.
But these are ways that you could not fail in these ways. Or as an investor, here's some really big struggles you might have, and yet here are the ways that you can get past that. So the other thing that's kind of unique is really the capital piece. You know, business is about making money when it comes down to it. And so if companies don't have capital to get started, you know, they can't make their company as successful as they'd like it to be. And so we're really about the difference that makes this conference unique is it's really about helping those entrepreneurs get that cash that they need to move that company forward.
You talked about failure. That's going to be the luncheon in which you've invited me to participate. And almost all the individuals that I'm going to have a chance to interact with are individuals I've known. One I've known since he was in grade school, so I've known some of these people a while. Another one I've known in ministry for decades. And we're going to talk about failure. And most people say failure, but some of the greatest lessons, I would think, Ed, you've been in the entrepreneurial business long enough to know that you learn more from failure than you do from success sometimes, don't you?
You really do. And they're hard lessons. I mean, there's nothing. It's just some days you just have to get up and handle that day, you know, and you just have to keep going day to day. And we really preach that message too, is that, you know, never give up. Just know that every day is not going to be a great day. Some things aren't going to go well, but you just have to keep on. And that's really part of that Bible intended purpose too. Keep going with Christ every day.
You know, there's another sense in which the scriptures talk about iron sharpening iron, and it does seem to me that there are probably some people, Brenda sort of alluded to that just a minute ago, that are kind of isolated, and they're thinking, well, I got too small a business. There's no way I could really benefit from something like that. No, you'd benefit a great deal from being with other people that have had similar kinds of difficulties, failures, and experiences, and learned those lessons vicariously. I'd like to learn as many lessons as I can vicariously rather than experientially.
Yeah, that's right.
But sometimes you just have to go through the school of hard knocks.
Well, you know, Kirby, they say entrepreneurs have higher levels of depression, suicide, and divorce than a lot of other people do because of that pressure. There's that loneliness. There's such a challenge that you're facing, and a lot of times they feel like they're struggling on their own. So we definitely encourage entrepreneurs who are out there to come and find the support that can be at an event like this.
Let me just mention, we will open up the phones. I've got so many talented people. I won't take a lot of phone calls, but perhaps you have a question and maybe even an experience that you would like some feedback. If that's the case, we'll certainly take those calls a bit later. But if you'd like to join us, that number is 1-800-351-1212. This is primarily a program where I think you want to sit back and learn from these experts. But if by chance you have a question, certainly wanted to give you that opportunity. 1-800-351-1212. Let's, if we can, talk about a couple of the companies that are involved and some of the speakers. I think, again, that's always helpful. You can find a lot of that on the website. But Vip, help us out there.
Yeah, this year we've got we'll have 10 companies pitching at the event. One of them is actually here with us today. She'll be in shortly to share with us on the radio, which is exciting.
Yes.
That is Amplio Recruiting. They hire refugees and help refugees to get jobs in companies in the DFW area. But we've also got companies like Seiko Designs that are hand-designed products from Africa that people are buying here. So clothes, leather products, that sort of thing. Work Flourish, which is almost like a WeWork for the apartment complex industry. Mm-hmm. It's a really unique concept there. Bethel is a speech and audio pathology company. Incredible. This woman named Lucy Liu, a doctor in speech pathology and audiology, has come up with a brand new concept for speech therapy, but for the Chinese language. So if you think of a country of 1 billion people that have never had this specific opportunity to get the speech therapy that they need, they've written software and developed it for the iPad, and then they're selling it around the country. We've got a few more companies, even beyond that.
When I got it started with this, Kerby, when Vip and I sat down and said, let's create this and kind of frame it out, I expected there to be a lot of really small companies that were difficult, and it's just been the opposite. The great surprise of this has been how good the companies are. We've got companies that have started product businesses that are now in Walmart, Bed Bath & Beyond, Target. We've had photonics companies, which is basically splitting, photonics to do this great product that just sold for $160 million, by the way.
Laser applications.
Yeah, laser photonics. And so we've really had great companies, great investors from all over the world, frankly, a lot of states and a lot of countries out of the world. And we just had great support from our university sponsor, Dallas Baptist. And so this is a real great trend across the country to really get involved with these kind of enterprises. And so we're really pleased with the way this has started to go.
Yeah. Talking about trends, Ed, this is something that really tracks well with millennials also, because they're looking for companies who are doing a greater good.
That's for sure. Let's take a break, and when we come back, we're going to switch out a little bit. And so if you've been watching, you can certainly see the 3 guests we have in studio. We're going to have a 4th one to join us as well. And speaking about joining us, if you'd like to join us on air, that number is 1-800-351-1212. Or if you'd just like to sit back and listen a little bit, feel free to do so. You might want to take some notes. And as we go to a break, it's a good time to go to the website. You're going to find all the information you need there. We'll talk a little bit about some of the other details, registration, the time, the schedule, and a few things. And we only mentioned a few of the companies. We'll get back to mentioning some of those as well. But we need to take one of those mandatory breaks. And again, if you are just here tuning in and surprised that you're hearing Point of View, it's because they are so sweet to have moved us to noon. So you are now hearing the first broadcast at the 12 o'clock hour right here on Point of View. We've been broadcasting for 45 years, but the first time on this station at this hour. So we'll be back right after this.
From Irwin Brothers Entertainment comes I Can Only Imagine. The untold true story of Mercy Me's Bart Millard and the power of redemption and forgiveness.
My dad was a monster, and I saw God transform him. I didn't think that God could do that.
I Can Only Imagine. Rated PG. Parental guidance suggested. In theaters March 16th. More information is available at ICanOnlyImagine.com.
When you listen to the news, do you ever feel like you're living on a different planet from those presenting the headlines? We've always known there was a subtle bias, but today, it's about as subtle as stepping off a 1,000-foot cliff. The only way to counteract that bias is with the truth. To join the Truth Team at Point of View, your support will educate and encourage potentially millions every day. Don't let lies win. Step up so that lives and our nation can be changed. Join the team at pointofview.net/team or call 800-347-5151. pointofview.net/team and 800-347-5151. Point of View will continue after this.
You are listening to Point of View. The opinions expressed on Point of View do not necessarily reflect the views of the management or staff of this station. And now, here again is Kerby Anderson.
You just joined us. We are talking about an event that will be taking place March 22nd at Dallas Baptist University. It's called Lion's Den. And again, let me go around the round table and introduce some of our guests. But first of all, Vip Vipperman, we are talking about, for people that have been listening, some of the various companies that will be doing this presentation. Talk a little bit more about a few of the others that will be joining us.
Yeah, absolutely. There's 10 companies total. We've got them split into two different sections, the main event and the rocket round, that have to go a little faster, and there's live audience voting for both sets.
Wow.
Contegra Biotech, really interesting company that's doing fertilizer that's organic. Smart Life Insurance is a new insurance company that's going to be in Walmart stores, hopefully nationwide one day. Be Friendly Boot Camp is doing a fantastic job of helping kids that are getting bullied and teaching that in high schools. We also have Block It that's going to help all those people that are out there that have those multiple doctor's office visits to help arrange them in a real one-time opportunity. And then Amicus is a company that's doing software to help you know where your charity dollars go and how to handle them better. And finally, Nguvu Dairy is a company based in Uganda that's employing 50 people, and they're actually making positive cash flow. They're employing 50 people, giving them jobs, giving them sales opportunities, and these people are able to really help their community, and they want to start a new one in Rwanda. So it's exciting to see companies coming from, local here in Dallas, which we'll get a chance to talk about, national, and even global.
Yes. Ed, let me come to you for just a minute. Ed Pierce also with us, and you go through these various companies and really try to assess their mission statement, their kingdom focus. Talk about that, because it's a good setup for the next individual we're going to meet.
It sure is, because we really looked at Amplio and really felt like they had that nailed pretty well. So we look at that in our core team getting together. Our core team's made up of really experienced venture capitalists, or those that have actually taken companies and grown them from nothing to sell for $400 million, or grown them and put all this different activity into great companies, startups, and moving ahead. And we take all the companies that apply. As Vip said in an earlier segment, 3 or 4 months ago, companies start to apply with us. We take the application, and there's one critical first thing we ask. Is what is your kingdom purpose?
Yes.
And, it's really sometimes hard to express that, because you want to be ethical, you want to really be a good Christian in the way you treat people. But we say, yeah, we get that, but we really want you to have a kingdom purpose here. How does your work in the company really either elevate those around you, elevate your own society? And it's not just Africa, it's all around the world. People have the same view. And we really bring that out of the companies that come with us. We want them to really have a specific, tied-in purpose for the kingdom. Now, we don't tell them how to do that. We don't tell them you got to be Baptist, Methodist, whatever. We say that you really have to just understand the kingdom message and then tell us how you're going to really do that, to where a real direction in your company is towards the kingdom of God.
Let's, if we can, now talk about one of those particular ministries or organizations that you will have a chance to hear about March 22nd. And many times on this program, we've talked about what can we do for refugees that we find in this country, and how can we connect them up to business? Well, we are privileged to have in studio with us Abby Davis. And Abby, thank you for joining us. You're going to be presenting that day, but give everybody an overview of what you've been able to do to help refugees connect up with the business community.
Yes. So Amplio Recruiting exists as a staffing firm that we actually connect refugees to businesses in the community. And so it works as if I go to different businesses and then represent the refugees to those businesses as reliable, strong candidates to fill those positions in companies.
Well, again, talk about some of the challenges. I think the first one is a language barrier, as well as maybe not a familiarity with the American lifestyle. Can you talk about that for just a minute?
Yes, totally. So some of them come over with perfect English, and have great educational backgrounds. But definitely for some, that is a challenge. And they're, start into the community with ESL classes and trying to learn the language amongst a lot of other things. Some of the other big barriers are transportation and childcare. And so, especially in a city like Dallas, we do have some transportation areas, but it is a bit of a challenge if you don't have your driver's license already yet or can't afford a car.
Vip, that's one of the reasons you're doing this, because how few people in the entire Metroplex even know that this exists. here's an opportunity to educate people and really get them involved in some significant way.
Absolutely. And Amplio started in Atlanta, Georgia, where they're taking off. They're already looking at 2 or 3 other cities beyond Dallas. And we think this is a company that could be in 20 cities in the next 5 years because they're really serving the community, they're serving the country, and they're really serving these refugees as well as the businesses that are getting top quality folks. I mean, can you imagine having someone who's a PhD in math doing your books for you? I mean, they've had some really high quality people that just don't have the education requirements in the U.S., but that are great educated people.
Abby, how can people connect up with you? Obviously, if they attend March 22nd, but I suspect right now there are people listening that say, I know a refugee that would benefit from this, or I would like to volunteer some time. I'd be glad to, maybe I'm a retired person, so I can work for free and give you sweat equity. How can they do some kind of connection with you?
That's a great question. So it is definitely two-pronged for, refugees to pass over, to give us different, referrals of refugees, or also if you're a business as well that is looking for strong employees, that you're having a hard time with turnover or retention rates, and you're looking for people to do dependable, hard work. This is a great opportunity for you. And so, yes, you can find us at ampliorecruiting.com. And or contact me as well. I will run the Dallas office, but we also have, as Vip said, an Atlanta office and Houston now as well.
And again, we have a link to you as well as your bio so people can find that out.
Right.
One of the things we've been talking about, of course, you've been listening out here, is this idea of kingdom purpose. How does that kind of fit in with what you're doing, and what's your own background in that regard?
Yeah, of course. So, the last week is a great example. So I met with a few different ministry partners within the community that have taught us a lot of different, evangelism strategies and ways to just continue sharing the gospel with these refugees. And so it's all about relationships is really what I believe. And so we, all of the employees that I have hired at different locations, I have built a personal relationship with. And as much as it could be just a job, it ends up being so much more. I get to know their whole family. I get to know their food, their culture, their language, and help them with a lot of other tasks in their life as well. And so that always opens up the door for deeper, more meaningful conversations with the individual.
Well, again, Ed, that just gives me, examples of how sometimes people say, well, if I'm going to do evangelism or going to get involved in people's lives, I've got to go out there and maybe do door-to-door evangelism or meet people in the mall or something else. They're opportunities that surface instantaneously from some of these entrepreneurial activities, right?
It really does. And Amplio is a great example of that. So as a business owner, I'm going to go to Amplio. I've got a business that basically does a lot of back office services and migration of data, et cetera. But I want a good quality workforce that's really dedicated to their own home and family, frankly, because I know that they're going to be great workers. I want to be able to have someone that's going to come in, do a great job on what I hire them to do. I know for a fact that Amplio can deliver that kind of product. And at the same time, we work together in really illustrating the kingdom, frankly. I mean, everything that we do day to day, minute to minute, has to be of one purpose.
So again, you're talking about expanding. So Atlanta, Dallas, where's next?
We're looking at some offices in Raleigh-Durham area, North Carolina, and then I think we have a good method of looking to expand, of where there are a ton of refugees and also where the businesses will support that.
And as you know, expansion costs money. So if you'd be interested, possibly even investing in Amplio as a company, come to the Lion's Den on March 22nd, hear the pitch, and see if it's something that you want to get behind.
Yes. Well, again, we have information about that. Again, it's thelionsdendfw.com. Or again, you don't have to write all that out. We just click on the button there. There's a press release. There is information about leadership sponsors, how to register. So when we come back, I want to get into a couple of details, Vip, if I can put you on the spot. How do people register? What is involved? What about the networking lunch? what's going to be required of them, maybe a little bit of the overview. Some of that you can find there in terms of the breakout sessions and those kinds of things, just some of the basics. And we'll go around the round table one more time just to give all of you a chance to express your interest and convictions about the Lion's Den. And if this is the first time you're hearing about it, well, that's why we're doing the program. Now, again, you will be on some other radio shows as well, right? So, again, we would certainly encourage you, if you happen to hear about this in another venue, promote that as well. You've already heard me suggest that you may say, well, I'm really not sure I need to go to this on March 22nd, but I do know somebody that does. So, again, there's an opportunity for you to then cut and paste or to hit the share button, send it on to others. Put it on your Facebook page. That's another thing you can do, or a Twitter feed. But we need to take a break. We'll come back and finally talk about some of the schedule right after these important messages.
Welcome to the First Liberty Briefing. I'm Jeremy Dice. In 1977, the Internal Revenue Service tried to declare that Catholic nuns operating in a hospital was not a, quote, religious function. Congress responded by amending the Employment Retirement Income Securities Act, or ERISA, to prevent the IRS from deciding what is or is not a church. Nonetheless, class action lawyers recently tried to argue that because some religious hospitals established pension plans, ERISA's exemptions did not apply because those plans were not established by a church. Well, a unanimous Supreme Court recently rejected that reasoning. The court recognized that Congress's amendment of ERISA continues to protect religious organizations from the burdens of ERISA, foreclosing the possibility that the IRS could bankrupt a religious organization simply because it does not believe the organization is religious enough. First Liberty Institute filed a friend of the court brief in this case on behalf of several religious organizations. As my colleague Justin Butterfield said of the decision in Advocate Healthcare Network versus Stapleton, quote, the history of the United States of America is one requiring the government to respect the religious freedom and autonomy of its houses of worship and religious organizations. The Supreme Court's decision respects that great history and tradition, allowing churches, synagogues, mosques, and religious ministries to pursue their religious mission without the weight of government bureaucracy and regulation hindering their efforts and intruding upon their mission. To learn how First Liberty is protecting religious liberty for all Americans, visit firstliberty.org.
You can learn how to protect religious freedom in the workplace, public schools, your church, the military, and more by downloading First Liberty's free Religious Liberty Protection Kits at firstliberty.org. That's firstliberty.org. If you want hope for religious freedom, go to firstliberty.org.
Now, back to Point of View, your listener-supported source for truth.
Back for a few more minutes talking about, again, on March 22nd at Dallas Baptist University, the Lion's Den. If you've been watching online, you notice we've rearranged some of the chairs here again. And so sitting across from me now, again, is Brenda. And Brenda, since you are kind of the moderator for all this, I wanted you to kind of help us understand what the day will look like. Some people are saying, okay, when I show up, what's going to happen the rest of the day? Take us through that.
Absolutely. We start off with the breakout sessions, and we have several wonderful breakout sessions, including one involving women entrepreneurs, because sometimes we don't know quite where to fit in. And it's nice to have another woman walk along that road with you. So different breakout sessions followed by lunch, and great speaker at lunch. You can pay for that part of it, but remember, everything is free.
Mm-hmm.
And where can you get free experience like this? This is a college course. You know what you think? And then we come back in the afternoon for the pitches. And this is the part that I really, really like, because it's audience participation involved. You can vote for your favorite company also. So that really, I'm a people person. So I just like jumping in that way. But overall, the day goes by fast. You're meeting people. The network opportunities are endless. So absolutely come.
Oh, and they'll get a chance to see everybody around the table here and many others.
I won't have on the hat. I'll
Okay.
just say that.
That is fine. By the way, Abby, you'll be one of the women doing some of the presentation,
Yes.
right?
Yes, I will, and I will be there with a few people from Atlanta as well. And we've loved the partnership with Lions Den that we've had in the past. It has been truly remarkable just for partnerships and networking and great visibility to people that we normally wouldn't have met.
Ed, one of the questions I haven't asked, it's an obvious one. Do you have any success stories after doing this for now 3 years?
We've got a lot of success stories. Several things really surprised us as we started Lions Den. One was the quality of the companies. Two was the actual investments that were made. We had, we were thinking, well, will anyone really invest? This year we'll have over 60 investors probably from around the country. We'll have 3 family offices that invest over $1 billion, have billion-dollar funds. We've got $6 or $7 billion venture capital firms that are coming in. And so there's real opportunity for real money. We've had a company last year that got invested several $100,000 in an hour that we introduced them to a family office here in Dallas. An hour later, they had a commitment for several $100,000.
Wow.
At one company, after the fact, about 2.5 months later, if I remember correctly, raised $2 million. And so we have real success stories with real money, with real companies that are making real profits. And that's what is attracting these investors. It's a good story.
And they're making the real profits, but they're also making a real impact. I mean, around the world, we're having opportunities to touch the lives of refugees, for people to be able to hear the good news in Africa or China, and just to be able to make that social impact as well that you like to see.
Vip, let me talk also about people wondering, okay, it's free, but I still have to register, right? I just don't show up at the door, right?
Absolutely. If you go to the website, there is a button right at the top that says register. So as you click through the event, you can learn about the calendar, the agenda for the day. You can read about the different panel judges who are going to be there, like Josh Kwan coming from the Accelerator Praxis Labs out in California, Scott Weiss coming from the Accelerator and Incubator in Cincinnati, Ohio, and other investors that are going to be on that panel asking the questions, as well as the companies and the speakers.
Also, Kerby, there are investors out there who want companies like this to invest in.
Right.
They just don't know where to find them.
And so, again, there's a real value as well. We mentioned the lunch for just a minute. That's something else. And, of course, you got people like Nathan Sheets. I've known him for decades.
Yeah, very good.
And Rob Peabody, although I call him Robbie since I knew him when he was in grade school. So I've known this kid since he grew up from just a few years of age because he was my son's best friend. So I've known some of these people forever. Of course, we've talked in the past about C2 and people like that and all sorts of others. So that's another real significant event that's in the midst of all that, right?
Yeah, Travis Lewis with Rug Doctor is also going to be out there, and Tyler Reeves, who's the president of Interstate Battery. And like you said, they're all involved together, those 4 guys, along with 8 others in a C12 group.
Yes.
So we're excited that C12 is making such a great impact in the community of DFW. And folks like this have a chance to encourage one another each and every day.
Yes, we had the CEO from C12 here just the other day and talking about that and talking about what a great ministry it was. And again, every time I talk about things like Lions Den or C12, people go, I've never heard about that before. Well, that's why we're doing the radio program, right?
There you go.
Well, you have to tell everyone what you'll be doing there.
I get to be you. She's the MC all day except for the lunch, and she's going to actually give me the microphone for a few minutes, and I'm going to give it right back to her, right? Isn't that kind of what's going on?
I'm going to hand it to you willingly, yes.
Yeah.
We're excited to have you join us this year.
Yeah, it's good opportunity as well. Just before we end, Ed, talk again about why this is so important. I think we sort of made the case, but I thought I'd like to at least get a final comment from you.
I think it is. It's really why we do it. None of us are paid. This is all volunteer work by our core team of professionals in the investment community and in business. We believe so strongly that we can have a business missional purpose And a lot of our audience, your audience today, whether they're young or old as me or as young as others, young as Abby, I mean, they want to have a missional purpose in what they do.
Mm-hmm.
And the kingdom purpose of what we do is what motivates us all every step of the way to come in, be honoring to Christ, have a missional purpose, and really move that forward in today's world.
You know, if you listen to our Wednesday program, we have a Millennial Roundtable, and Nick Pitts, Dr. Nick Pitts, Vice President at Dallas Baptist University, and all sorts of other people, Chelsea Human and all sorts of individuals, all talk about the fact that millennials really are looking for a missional purpose. The days of, well, I'm just going to get a job and then I'll go do my ministry on the side, that still happens for a number of people, but I sense that that is kind of the new paradigm, and so this is going to be just a great opportunity, and we'll spend some time maybe talking about that on our Millennial Roundtable.
Yeah, you might even mention Grant Skeldon, who founded Initiative.
And he sits right there.
Is going to be speaking at the event and talking, trying to help business people understand how to relate to millennials even better, and the millennials to relate to the business folks in the area.
Yeah, Grant sometimes is here for a week or two, and then he's off to South Africa or something like that, and we don't see him for a while. So, but he's one of the regulars for our Millennial Roundtable, and he'll be there as well. And speaking of that, that's how a lot of us met each other at Movement Day. You've been involved in that, right?
Yes,
so talk about that for just a minute.
Well, Movement Day is obviously a great venue for city transformation. So we wanted to see in a similar manner. When we first looked at bringing Movement Day to Dallas from New York City, we said, can we really transform the city and really impact Dallas in the same way that, the New Testament impacts the world? And we believe we could. And so we started Movement Day with the idea that churches and nonprofits and all across the city could unify together to really have tangible impact on Dallas. Could we move it closer to the cause of Christ?
Yes, and we've had Tim Keller on, and Jim Dennison, and of course you just mentioned Grant Skeldon, all sorts of people. But
yes, that's right.
Just another opportunity.
That's right.
Yeah, Ed and I working together on the core there with Brenda is how the three of us got to know each other in the first place. Brenda, many years, did the MC work there, and she did such a fantastic job. We were like, we can't do the Lions Den without her on the team.
And it's interesting because the core purpose of Movement Day is to bring different nonprofits together to do a greater good. And so, does it work? Yeah, we're together.
Well, there you go. That's right. For better or for worse, that's right.
So again, one last time, Vit, just again, remind us, can people tune in and tune out in case they don't know exactly how to register and what is entailing their involvement and how long it takes place? Give us a little bit of an overview.
Yeah, March 22nd. This year at Dallas Baptist University, we'll come together from about 8 o'clock in the morning until about 5 p.m. in the afternoon. You'll get a chance to hear the pitches. You'll get a chance to join the breakout sessions and just to have a fantastic keynote lunch. It is a free event, although if you'd like to join the keynote lunch, there's a $25 charge. You can register on the website. But we just love to see you come. We're getting to see real businesses who are seeking real investors to make a real impact. And it's actually happening. That's the exciting thing, and that's because God's been involved in it. We want to give him the glory.
Well, I want to thank all four of you for participating and for moving the microphone around so efficiently. So this is very good. Again, March 22nd, we have all that information on our website, pointofview.net. I want to thank Doug for his help, and we'll be back right after this.
Because for decades, this team has made a significant difference in lives and communities across the nation. Because America is dying for lack of biblical wisdom about life and culture. You should give because your gift will make possible cutting-edge information on issues that matter, information you won't hear anywhere else. Why? Because your gift will change lives, because you'll influence our culture with biblical truth, and because you can make a difference for the future. Our nation needs a truth team very badly. Support Point of View Radio today at pointofview.net. Click on Join the Truth Team and choose your level of support. Pointofview.net or call 800-347-5151, 800-347-5151, or mail that first donation to Point of View, Box 30, Dallas, Texas 75221, Box 30, Dallas 75221. Point of View will continue after this.
I just want to thank you so much for all the wonderful programming you have. You're just absolutely fantastic.
I recently started listening to Point of View, and I really found it interesting because of the different subjects you cover. Thank you for that.
I really appreciate everything that you do in keeping us informed.
Thank you, Kerby, for everything that you have been doing. I appreciate all the work that you're doing, advocating for the Word of God. Thank you so much.
Point of View, I think, is absolutely necessary because it's a Christian perspective, a biblical worldview perspective, and receive very current, up-to-date information about what is really going on, week to week in our culture, which is changing so rapidly, and yet it's morally sliding backwards.
Yeah, I'm just, first of all, I thank you guys. Y'all's program is wonderful, and enjoy it every day. I learn so much every time I listen to it.
Point of View Radio Talk Show.
Hi, this is Kerby Anderson. You know, each day we take on the tough issues and provide a biblical perspective to them. The topics we cover are wide-ranging: apologetics, theology, prophecy, creation and evolution, intelligent design, marriage, family, child-rearing, the millennial generation, trends in society, politics, economics, business, religious liberty, the Constitution, public policy, foreign policy, military policy, tensions in the Middle East, abortion, homosexuality, pornography, sexual ethics, media, technology, history, and America's godly heritage. We talk about anything that affects your faith, your family, or your freedom. So don't go anywhere.